teaches kids so much more than just the basic skills. It's just really how to work, how to be a good employee, different things like being on time, how that figures in there, and then just learning new skills.
Welcome back to Building Nebraska, a podcast for dreamers and doers. We'll ignite your passion for entrepreneurship while highlighting those who turn ideas into reality. Building Nebraska is brought to you by the Angler Agribusiness Entrepreneurship Program at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. So far on the podcast, we have gotten to visit with inspiring entrepreneurs from all across the state, but today we are shaking things up a little bit and highlighting a very powerful community initiative. I'm joined by Liz Ravenscroft, and we are here in Cody, Nebraska at the Circle C Market. Liz, give us a little bit of context. What is the Circle C Market and what does it represent?
Well, thank you very much for coming and visiting our little store here. It's very vital to our community, the grocery store is, and it was started by two business teachers that really just thought it would be cool to teach kids about how to buy bread, milk, the basics, and it turned into this. They went ahead and applied for a grant, not even thinking that they would get it, and they were awarded a pretty large grant, and it started from there. So that they were able to finish it in 2013, and it turned it into a student-led grocery store, student-run grocery store, and we're unique in the fact that we are between the school and the village, so they both came together to create this.
Yeah. Well, the market is a unique initiative in the sense that lots of rural communities are struggling to keep their local grocery stores open, and it really does serve an important role in rural communities. What was the approach in attacking that challenge? And for people who are not familiar with the area, just how sparsely populated is Cody and the surrounding area?
So Cody is just over 100 people itself, and our school district, reaches through much of the Cherry County. So they come as far as 40 miles to the west and at least 30 or more from the east. And then our ranch is 40 miles south. So they really do come from a very large area in Cherry County. So when they talked about creating the grocery store, that was one of the biggest things. When kids go to school and they're in a small town, where do they get bread? Where do they get milk? Like those staples that people need on their ranches when they're over an hour just from the grocery store. And so that was a big push for getting a grocery store going here, and it made perfect sense to incorporate it with the school too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, from a logistical lens, it's really nice to be able to grab milk or eggs, as you mentioned, from town, but also from the student perspective, the students really have the opportunity to get fully integrated in this experience if they choose to. Walk us through what the student experience looks like if they're involved with the market.
Absolutely. So, we know in this day and age, having your first job, that is very beneficial, and what better way to get students involved than to have a place where they can learn how to be a good employee. They do everything from learning how to stock shelves, checking in a truck, making orders for the weekly truck that comes, submitting orders for chips, submitting orders for different pop vendors. You think about all the different vendors that you could possibly have in a grocery store, and then having those kids learn how to do that really teaches a kid or a student a lot more than just how to do something. They also have to learn how to communicate with other customers, how to have critical thinking skills to make choices, and how to figure out problems that might arise when someone comes in and asks for something, or they have a problem, or say the credit card machine goes down, which we have happened because of our internet. So there's lots of different things that, from a student perspective, that it's very beneficial. It teaches kids so much more than just the basic skills. It's just really how to work, how to be a good employee, different things like being on time, how that figures in there, and then just learning new skills.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you get to have a front row seat to the growth that you observe in all the students over the years, but I think this may be the only grocery store in the state of Nebraska that has a classroom in it. you kind of play two roles, overseeing the grocery store and then also serving as a teacher in the Cody Kilgore school system. Talk about that partnership between the village and the school system to make this happen.
So the village and the school came together and they created an interlocal agreement. What that interlocal agreement does is it says that two different entities can work together on projects. So they came together, created the interlocal, and then they created underneath the interlocal the Cody Community Agency. And you can think of it like an umbrella. And the grocery store falls underneath that umbrella. So the Cody Community Agency is the umbrella, and then the Circle C Market is underneath there. So it is a very unique situation in the fact that we're associated with the school, but we're not owned by the school or run by the school, and that's where I come in. So as part of that, they made the stipulation that the person who manages the grocery store should be a teacher that teaches the classes right here. And yes, you are right. There are not any other student-run stores where the teacher has a classroom in the grocery store.
Yeah.
So it's very unique in that way, and it's a really unique situation for the kids that are in the classroom to be able to see a real live working business.
Mm-hmm. Talk about the classes that you teach here at the store and what that kind of symbiotic relationship looks like between the content you're teaching and then the practical application here in the grocery store.
Absolutely. So I teach intro to business, personal finance. I teach marketing, intro to marketing, accounting 1, accounting 2, entrepreneurship. And I also have work-based learning, and we just shorten that to WBL class. And those are kids that come and actually work in the grocery store like a regular job for an hour, as they're taking the class for a grade. And then I go up to the high school or the middle school 1 hour a week or 1 hour a day, for 4 days a week to teach technology to middle school kids. So that's kind of what I do in a day.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that you kind of have some student leadership roles too in having a student store manager and things like that. How have you seen the students really cling to this experience and take ownership of the store themselves?
It's a really unique situation, and one individual that I think of that was really a long time, my longest employee that I've been here at the store. I'm going into my 5th year, and this young gal, she was in my class, or she worked here at the grocery store when I first started, and she really just blossomed into a student manager position. She just had a hunger for learning new things, wanting to take on more responsibility, placing orders, really wanted to be responsible, and she took a lot of initiative in just wanting to learn those things and working hard to just pick those skills up. And so she naturally came into a manager position, and she's no longer here. And I keep in contact with her, and I just see what a wonderful young woman she's turned into, and I know that we contributed to that as a store, as a community.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. Well, I'm sure, as with many community projects, there's always a lot of discourse that happens before the projects actually hit the road, if you will. How have you seen the market evolve since it began? And was there any skepticism as to whether or not this would work in the beginning?
I think that there was some skepticism. Like there was some, there's no way this is going to happen. There's no way this is going to work. And, they really proved everybody wrong. And from the very beginning, it really was a community effort. I mean, the two founders, Stacy Adamson and Tracy Ford, were the two teachers that worked really hard to get the grocery store. It was their dream, and it was what their dream blossomed into is what we're sitting in today. And, it really truly was a community project from the very ground up. They had kids that came down and helped to build the walls, helped to put the stucco on the outside of the building. They rode their bikes down and they helped, get stuff in here. And then when they got the walls put up and the stucco on and the drywall in and started painting, it became a reality. And those same kids were down here stocking the shelves and really excited. And I think, that's something that really, it's blossomed into a different era now. Now it's a pride of I'm helping make that work. And I think another thing the students see is like interviews like this, or anytime that we're interviewed for like a magazine article or any type of article, they're like, wow, we're kind of a big deal. And I think then they kind of start to take pride in that.
Yeah. What do you think has been the biggest factor in the store's success since 2013 that's allowed that initial dream to keep rolling?
I would have to say community support. Without the community, we wouldn't be here, but also like it's switched around too. Like not only would we would be nothing without our community would be lost without us. We really truly do help each other. I mean, we are helping our community by providing a service when people can't go the hour to a grocery store, which is what most of them have to drive.
Yeah. Well, something fun, this isn't business related necessarily, but something fun about the store is that the walls are made of straw bales. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that kind of happened or came to be?
So actually, I know that you've gone and interviewed the Vinegary. Their building is the same. It's after the same idea. That's where they got the idea from. And yes, the outside, the exterior walls they have straw bales inside of them. It was kind of an interesting way. They had to stay dry to get them in there. It had to be completely dry. The straw was baled as round bales and kept covered, I believe, for a year. I'd have to check on that for sure, but I think it was a year to make sure that they were good and dry. Then they unrolled the bales and rebaled them into square bales to fit into the walls.
Wow.
So it was kind of a process.
Yeah. Well, we're jumping around a little bit, but as far as merchandising for the store, you mentioned that, a lot of people's feedback when it comes to stocking a rural grocery store is that they want the prices to be comparable. You really don't mark your products up that much in order to serve your community best. Is that right?
Yes, some of the main ones like bread, milk, produce, those are not a huge markup. And so we've brought in other items like a candle line and gift items, things like that to offset that markup. Or the lack of a markup as much.
Well, when someone looks at this through a business lens, they may say, well, it's not operating aggressively in the black, but obviously there's so much more value here than monetary value or profit for that matter. What does this store mean to you, and what do you think it means to the community?
I mean, to me, I love the store because it is a part of the community. It's the vital heartbeat that the community it needs. Being as far out as we are, and I think about, I drive just myself over an hour just to get to Valentine, which is quite a ways, and that's the next nearest grocery store besides ours. And so I think about that drive, and I think how blessed and how thankful I am that we have the store close by for those necessities that we have to have.
Well, I think when we talk about rural communities, everyone wants a village, but not everyone wants to be a villager. And I really see you in a villager role working so hard to keep this afloat. What advice would you offer someone who maybe is in a rural community, they're losing amenities, and they want to do something about it?
What advice? Get involved. I mean, you can't just sit around and expect something to happen. And I think that is why I felt like this was an important role for me to take on. I put in a lot of time, a lot of hours, and a lot of effort to make sure that my community members have the access to things that they need, especially the ones that can't get out. I mean, we do have members in the community that can't get out. And so I think I look at that and I think about how important that is. And I guess that's what I'm saying to other people. If you feel strongly about it, it can be a lot of work, but it's important.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's not just a matter of inconvenience, not being able to drive to Valentine or a bigger town. Sometimes your people are physically unable to. Are there any stories or instances that come to mind where you've been involved and you just kind of look back and say, man, this really makes it worth it?
Actually, yeah, I have one lady that calls and she gets her groceries almost every single week. She calls me and she says, "Hi, Liz, are you busy?" "Nope, I'm never too busy for you." And I've taken that approach. But I take her order every week, and she has no vehicle, and she can't get out of her house. And I think if I wasn't here, if the store wasn't here, where would she be? And so that right there makes it worth it.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. Well, are there any other communities that you're aware of in the state of Nebraska that have a student grocery store or who have tried it?
I know there was a school to the south and west of us here that had a student-run grocery store. It didn't work, and they had to. The store is still there, but it's no longer student-run. So that's the only one that I'm aware of. I do know there is a student-run store, not a grocery store in Kansas, and she has come here and visited and got ideas and tips and direction. But no, there's no other that I know of anywhere unique.
Well, this has been such a fun conversation, but as we look ahead, what are some of your goals for the market and some things that you'd like to see be implemented here in the next few years?
So one thing that we have worked on, and we actually applied for a grant through the Center for Rural Affairs. They let us know about it. It was a pretty large grant. We applied for that and found out that the program had been done away with. So they retracted our application, but for a greenhouse, a student-run greenhouse. And that would be something that we're not done yet. We're still going to apply, and I really want to see that to fruition.
Awesome. Well, Liz, thank you so much for joining us and sharing about Circle C Market, but also just sharing your passion with us. It's really evident that you care about what you do.
Thank you.
Well, once again, that's Liz Ravenscroft. We're here at the Circle C Market in Cody, Nebraska, a community initiative to bring much needed resources to this rural town. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Building Nebraska podcast. If you enjoyed it, feel free to like and share with a friend. And thank you to our friends at the Angler Agribusiness Entrepreneurship Program at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln for their support. We'll catch you next time.